Hello to you. This is Dr. Judith. Good afternoon. It's Thursday, the 28th of August, 2014. And I want to share with you today from Genesis chapter 41, verse 51, a verse that I heard today, I've read before, but I heard today as quoted by a pastor who was doing a devotion. And when I heard it, it just really hit home for me, because of where I am in my life, and I want to share that with you because I think more than likely many of us are in that place. It doesn't have to be just me. We have seasons of our lives where different things happen for different reasons when the Lord allows whatever it is that's happening if we belong to Him. And I want to share with you, as I said, Genesis chapter 41, verse 51. Joseph called the name of the firstborn, his firstborn, Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. Now, anyone that knows the story of Joseph would be able to tell right away what his toil was, and his father's house, meaning that his brothers and his father Jacob that was left behind in Canaan. He had been, the story is the same old story, very powerful story, that he had been thrown into the pit by his brothers, and the ensuing years, 13 years, that he went from the pit to the palace, then to the prison, and then from the prison back to the palace. And so what Joseph is saying in naming his son Manasseh, what he's basically saying is that my first son marks my change. It marks my growth from what I was in, the toil and the troubles and the snares and the difficulties. His birth marks my transition into a new season. And so God, in His infinite mercy, has allowed Joseph to go from the toils and the difficult situations into a new season. And He says, He has made me to forget all my toils and my father's house. So whatever harmed him in the past, God in His great mercy has helped him, and helped him to change and to grow, and to show that he has grown and changed, He named his son, his firstborn, Manasseh. And so how many of us have had to name our sons or daughters a particular name because it marks our transition from one season to the next? How many of us have had to, where God has graciously changed the way we were living, and we found a symbol of some sort, not necessarily a child's name, but some token to share with others and say, this marks my freedom from that season. This marks how God has taken me over and taken me across to the other side. For Joseph, it was the name of his firstborn. I can definitely identify with Joseph. I've not had a particular term to use for my passing over to the next season, but I can definitely identify with him in that I have forgotten much of the past. I have forgotten much of my toil. I certainly know that I have forgotten much of the house that I came from, the situations that I came from, the places that I came from that were not good for me, the situations that in which people meant evil all the time, though God meant good. Whatever was meant for evil, God meant it for good. And so it is such a powerful, and sometimes I run out of words to express my gratitude towards the Lord, and how when you belong to Him, He can make you forget things that no longer serve a purpose in your life, things that no longer have any true value. And that what we have to do is to be willing to let Him do this work in us, because He's not going to force us. But when He sees our heart and our willingness to move on, He definitely will help us to forget that which we no longer need to remember. And that's what He did for Joseph. He did it in such a way that Joseph was able to tell his siblings, listen, it's okay, I forgive you. For what you meant for evil, God meant for good. I don't have to rehash the story. I don't have to remind you what you did to me 13 years before. I don't have to tell you what it is that you did to cause me harm. I don't have to remind you and simultaneously remind myself of the harshness of what was done to me. I can say, I forgive you, let's move on. Because I now have my son. And my son, every time I see him, he's a reminder of where I've been and where I do not need to return. Joseph is saying basically, listen, I've been there. I've gone through that stuff. It's over. And my son is a living testimony, a reminder that I came through well, that I did not stay in the valley of the shadow of death. I did not stay in that dark valley because of whom I serve. Because of his love for me, I came out. And I came out well. And because I came out well, and because he continues to be there for me and has never forsaken me, I now can say, I have forgotten my toils. I've forgotten the negativities that happened in the past. What part of your past do you need to forget? I say this to you, that what I have done and I've learned to do, learn from the past what you need to learn, get the message, get the lesson, and by the grace of God, move on. Move on from your former toil and your former hurts. As a friend reminded me today, let the water roll off your back like a duck's back. Just keep on moving forward toward the cross, toward where God has already prepared an awesome place for you. So Joseph's story in Genesis chapter 1 verse 51 about the name that he gave his son could apply to the lives of any and all of us. All of us have toils that we need to forget. So I pray that this word today has reminded you or informed you of something that you need to leave behind so you can go forward into a new season, a new place, where God's grace and mercy continues to gush out at us, continues to cover us, and just remold us and make us into different people. We are, because of His grace and love, we are entitled to leave the toils behind. We are entitled to have a Manasseh in our lives. This has been Dr. Judith. Until next time, God bless and take care.